Oh, okay, let's see if this is working. It's picking up audio. Cool. Okay. Um, derp derp. Okay. So this is an experiment to see if my stream settings work. I mostly am just testing stuff, but anyone's free to hang out and watch as I'm working on my new track. I'm writing this new song. I was gonna show like how I'm doing it and what I'm using to make it, how I go about writing, what tools I use, um, just generally everything in my songwriting process. About Angelwreck, we're a new band. We just got established in about November of this year, whereas I had been I had been doing stuff solo for a while before that under just my name of AJ Sprague, and I uh, I was doing some stuff that way. But now we've decided uh, I'm adding my husband to uh, the band, kind of as another player. I play guitar, he plays bass, and well, we're learning anyway. He's kind of a new bassist, but he wants to help me out with my songs and how I write and everything in performance. So I'm hoping eventually I can do some live stuff here on Twitch and show folks like our performance and do some singing live and as if it was a concert kind of thing. So um, that's kind of my plan. This used to be a gaming channel, but it's not so much anymore. I'm just featuring the band now. Yeah, I was a gamer since about 2018, 2019, and that's what this channel was primarily for. Then I started writing music, and that kind of became my central focus. So I mostly am just kind of shifting focus right now, and I want to redirect toward the music and not so much gaming. But I'm excited about some new stuff coming up that's going to release here soon. We already have one music video created, which is the channel trailer, Super Sleuth. And that was fun to make. We had a blast making that, so I really enjoyed it. We filmed it with an iPhone and a gimbal, but we're still kind of adjusting equipment. I have a camera now that's actually a dedicated camera. I have a drone. That's going to be a blast to mess around with. I still have to learn to fly it, but once I do, that's going to be pretty epic. We're located in Denver, Denver, Colorado, US. So we're kind of surrounded by cool stuff to take photos of and videos of. There's all kinds of natural habitats and environments and stuff for animals and scenery and just generally cool outdoor stuff around here. There's tons of it. So I'm always looking for new places to photograph and videos and just generally create content for the music. I have a vlog. It's on both YouTube, Instagram, and somewhat on TikTok. I'm just getting up and running on TikTok and X. There's a little bit there so far, but I need to post more. I've copied my shorts over from YouTube onto Instagram, but not really anywhere else. So if you're looking for my content, YouTube's the best spot to find it right now. I do intend to stream more. Like I said, I want to do live music once we get established better. So that's kind of a long-term goal. I can play a lot of my stuff already. Let me back up. When I first started composing, this was about 2 or 3 years ago, I think. Um, I was first experimenting with loops and samples, and that was how I was composing, and I was mostly writing EDM. And well, that was cool, but wasn't really what I wanted to do. I was more interested in guitars and rock and metal, heavy rock, that kind of good stuff. And pop and EDM wasn't really my original direction. That wasn't what I wanted to focus on. So that's when I started experimenting with MIDI, and actually, my sister-in-law thought it was pretty cheap that I was using samples and loops and was like, "Why don't you just write your own stuff?" I was like, it made me mad at first, but then I was like, well, actually, maybe she's got a point here. And that was when I started experimenting with VSTs and MIDI and composing actual, like, original clips and stuff, and basically making my own loops and whatnot. And so as I've gotten better at working with MIDI, I've gotten better VSTs. One of my favorite tools is some guitars that Impact Soundworks puts out. They have the Jupiter plugin, and it is absolutely fantastic. It sounds 100% like a real guitar, and a lot of folks couldn't tell the difference between live guitar input and the plugin, which I think is saying something, for most plugins aren't that realistic. I mean, it is a high-end plugin and costs a pretty penny a little bit, but other than that, I think it's probably the best electric guitar and metal riff creator that there is for VSTs. It really rivals like an actual guitar. So my problem was, at first, I not only didn't really know how to play guitar, but I have an injury that my left hand, which would be my fretting hand, I had broken a bone in it, and I had actually smashed like this third finger on my left hand. And I thought for the longest time that that was going to wreck my ability to move around and actually play on the strings and kind of ruin my dexterity for changing chords and frets and whatnot. So I kind of hung out, not waiting, not wanting to actually even attempt it, thinking it was impossible. So I was basically using the VST in lieu of playing, because I could manage a keyboard and a MIDI controller, but not a real guitar. And I hadn't actually checked it out, so I didn't know that was whether that was true or not. I just kind of assumed it was. So that was why I even started with the VSTs, was so that I could play guitar on a keyboard. But as I got better and better at doing that, I started wanting to actually record my own live input even more. So I think about 2022, maybe 2023, uh, I signed up for lessons at School of Rock. And my teacher initially was like, well, okay, so you've played cello before. You have previous knowledge of stringed instruments and bass clef. And so they're like, well, okay, so a bass guitar is kind of like a cello turned on its side. It doesn't play chords as much. And so it'd be basically like your cello, but a guitar. So I was like, well, okay, that sounds pretty good. Maybe I can manage a single string at a time. So I took him up on the bass lessons and was like, this is pretty cool. So I was playing in the little band that they had for a while, and I learned how to keep up with drums and like how to move around on the fretboard and get kind of a general idea for kind of how guitar works and the tuning and that kind of thing. So I was I was experimenting with the bass, and oh, there seems to be something going on behind me, but that's okay. Um, so I was learning the bass, and I really liked it. And I got to the point that I could actually play most of my stuff on the bass, and so I started recording live bass along with the MIDI guitars. Well, lately, I've gotten even more interested in guitar specifically because it isn't just that the VST is not sufficient, really. I mean, it works for composition and whatnot, but I wanted to make sure that the stuff I was writing was actually playable on a real guitar, and I wasn't, writing stuff that only a computer could play, which I'll say this. I have a couple of tracks that I'll probably never perform live because they're just stupidly hard. Like only a computer could play it, and it's just ridiculous. Like take Poison. Oh my God, that one is just like ridiculous. I don't think even a really skilled guitarist could actually play that track. That is just not so fast. So I was trying to avoid doing that again, and I was just like, I want to write actually playable stuff. And the better I got, um, the closer I got to like as I was starting to use the bass and everything, I was like, well, why couldn't I do this on regular guitar? So about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months, I started looking for music school and was like, I'm gonna give guitar another shot. So I did just that. I've been practicing, and it turned out like all I really needed was basically knowledge of chord theory on how to translate that to a fretboard. So I was experimenting with power chords, which my VST, the Jupiter plugin, does a really good job of playing power chords. So almost everything I've written has been for power chords. And so I was asking my teacher, like, okay, so if I show you this chord progression and find the root, could I play it on an actual guitar? And it turns out, yes, you can. I totally can. And I actually discovered that my newer tracks are even easier to play. Um, so I have a track that's coming out, oh, probably in April, I think. Might be May, depending on the order of stuff that I'm releasing. Um, I'm thinking that one will probably be the one of the next few up that I'm going to release. So I I was messing around with the guitar and experimenting with the chords that are in that song. And what I ended up doing was I took a notebook, I got a blank notebook with tab paper, and where I could make like a diagram of the fretboard for the fingering for each one of these chords. And so I just practiced going back and forth between the chords and like building dexterity, building calluses, and just kind of learning how the fretboard on a standard guitar feels. And so I was doing that, and I went through all of my tracks, my entire collection of works, and I took this notebook and I did the exact same thing for all the other tracks. I wrote down, okay, here's the chord, the actual chords I was playing in the VST. Here's the root. Can I translate this to my fretboard? Okay, I can. Well, let me write down the order of the chords and then I can just memorize them and play them back. So that's precisely what I've been doing, and I can totally play most of my stuff now. Yeah, of course, it's going to take some practice to remember all of the chord order for every song, but I can definitely play Heart of Gold, and that's my new one. The lyrics of that one were designed to explain the band name, what I meant when I created Angelwreck, and why it's called that. Because as I said, my husband wanted to join my efforts in writing and playing, and just generally be a part of the whole creation process. And so we've been working on some of his vocals and getting him up to speed on the bass because I can help him because I already play bass. And he's learning, he's taking lessons too to play the bass. And so he's getting better and better and making progress. And as I'm making progress, so is he. Um, Hold on one second. So, um, I lost my page here. But so I can actually play that song now, and it's led to the playing of the other stuff, which actually I can do that. I can do that on stream because it's cool. So let me grab my guitar and I can demonstrate the song. This is called Heart of Gold, and it's it's one of my favorite tracks that I've written so far. I really like the meaning and the just kind of the general message behind it. Kind of can't see the guitar here, but it might pick up the sound. So hold on. Let me see. That's I think that's the right chord prog. I'm trying to I got two songs that I'm trying to remember that I'm trying to sort out and remember which chord goes with which song. So derp. I probably should have checked on that before I started playing, but all good. I think it's D, C, C, D. I can't remember, but it's all my life has been in pain. Oh, hold on, let me get my lyrics. I can't remember my lyrics. Good grief. Of course, I'm on the spot, so go figure. Pull up my lyrics. Oh, song lyrics. Where are you, Heart of Gold? Oh, hold on. Heart of Gold lyrics. Okay. All my life has been in pain, thorns in my side, too many friends who lie. Why does it always end this way? Like an angel with broken wings, born to fly, but can't reach the sky. Fell from heaven, a hell of a ride, a wreck of a girl with a heart of gold inside. Hang on, I gotta move down. It's hard not to grow bitter as each passing year. You lose more than you held dear. Why does it always end this way? Like an angel with broken wings, born to fly but can't reach the sky. Fell from heaven, a hell of a ride, a wreck of a girl with a heart of gold inside. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Like an angel with broken wings, born to fly but can't reach the sky. Fell from heaven, a hell of a ride, a wreck of a girl with a heart of gold inside. Despite this fight, still grounded from fight, I'll always be shining bright, yeah. Like an angel with broken wings, born to fly but can't reach the sky. Fell from heaven, a hell of a ride, a wreck of a girl with a heart of gold inside. So that's like the new song. Um, that's a sneak preview of our new track. Of course, it sounds a lot better in the recording because I'm actually paying attention, but that kind of gives you like a sort of like sneak preview. Um, so I'm getting better at the guitar. It's hard sometimes because I have to get used to the feeling of it and make sure I get the strings held down right. Because on an acoustic in particular, it's you have to hold the strings down pretty hard, and it can be kind of muty, I guess I'd call it, if you don't hold them down enough. Whereas on an electric, it takes much less pressure to hold the strings down, and I find the electric much easier to play. And as I'm learning, I'm mostly using the electric. So, like, let me see, like, if I can point this camera down a little bit so you can see the guitar. Like, you can't really see my hand, but let's see. But like, you have to hold the strings down a fair bit harder with the acoustic than you do the electric. It's basically just those four chords that I wrote, and I didn't even realize that it was that simple to play when I wrote it initially. And it was like kind of a discovery the other day when I was going through and checking out which chords go where in the fingering, and then going through and writing them all down. So that was fun actually. And so then I have a new song that I've just started writing, which it's written in MIDI right now, but the cool part about it is I can actually play it. And I have it pulled up here on my software that I'm writing it in. So you can get a kind of an idea of like how I write in the MIDI and then how I translate that to the guitar. And it it works. Like the plugin plays the power chord and then I can actually play the power chord back. But as kind of a newbie for guitar, it isn't too bad. And oh yeah, the other thing is I'm a parent. You can hear my daughter screaming in the background because she's going nuts right now. And Eric, who's my husband, is also part of the band. He's up there, he's like an angel dealing with the baby right now. And at any given moment, her brother might start in too, because he's in the room next to me. Uh, as I've talked about in my vlogs, I'm kind of a busy mom. I have three kids, and at any given moment, they're likely to totally bomb my content, which I guess I had to get used to that because, well, it's reality. I was trying to find a quiet environment to like record vlogs, record music, do videos, and always the kids come along and, well, they completely bomb everything. And I have a 15-year-old son too, who's likely to come down and tap me on the shoulder and then realize I'm on stream and go, "Oh God," and then back off because, well, he does that. uh, I love my kids. All three of them are great. My daughter I just had in October. She's a little gal, so she's the one up there who was screaming. Probably wants a bottle, but yeah. So she's adorable though. When she was born, I wrote her a lullaby, and I was going to record lyrics to it, but to this day, it's still just an instrumental because I start crying every time I'm gonna sing it. So I kind of gave up on trying to write anything down or sing it. And what just pinged? Oh, hey, thank you. uh, so I I didn't realize anyone was actually watching. Hey, awesome. Hi. So yeah, I was just playing my guitar a while ago. I was like, and then my daughter started crying, and I was like, I got totally distracted. But Mushfi Quifty, is that how you say? I don't know how you would say that, but hey, glad to have you. So I was just doing this as a test stream, but it's fun. So I was just kind of messing around and talking about my new track that I'm going to be releasing. Ifty? Okay, I can call you Ifty. But yeah, I was just talking about my new track that I'm getting ready to release. I think it'll be coming out like April or May. It's called Heart of Gold, and I was talking about how I was writing it. Yeah, sure, I can play it. Hang on. Oh, hang on. I need to find my lyrics here. I haven't memorized the lyrics yet because it's like so new. So let me like move this down and I can see it. Good grief. Okay. Grr, computer. Yeah, the new track. Okay. So this is Heart of Gold in C major, and I'll go ahead and start it. So, all my life has been in pain, thorns in my side, too many friends who lied. Why does it always end this way? Like an angel with broken wings, born to fly but can't reach the sky. Fell from heaven, a hell of a ride. Wreck of a girl with a heart of gold inside. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh, here we go. Huh? Yeah. It's hard not to grow bitter with each passing year. You lose more than you held dear. Why does it always end this way? Like an angel with broken wings, born to fly but can't reach the sky. Fell from heaven, a hell of a ride. A wreck of a girl with a heart of gold inside. Despite this fight, still grounded from flight. I'll always be shining bright, yeah. Like an angel with broken wings, born to fly but can't reach the sky. Fell from heaven, a hell of a ride. A wreck of a girl with a heart of gold inside. Ah, there we go. So that's like a sneak preview. I was just saying, like, this just got written, and like, I'm just kind of learning actually how to play the guitar because I've been writing in MIDI up until this point with a VST. So, yeah, forgetting lyrics, that's totally a thing because this is like my first experience with playing anything live. Because, like I've been saying, I've been writing digitally until now. So, yeah. Um, it's kind of a new experience for me to even try this. And I kind of was just doing this as a test. But I can show like how I usually write is more like this. I have a program, it's called Logic Pro. And here's what it looks like. Um, this is my actually the one I was working on writing the other day, called Let Go. This one isn't even finished yet, but uh, the the newbie guitar playing is because it really actually is new. This is, well, what I've been using is called a VST, and it's like a computerized version of a guitar that I can play on a keyboard on a MIDI controller, which is what I was using to write up until, oh gosh, like a month ago. And I I like the plugins from Impact Soundworks. They make like the most realistic guitar I've ever found for like a plugin. Like it sounds real. Let's see if I can demonstrate here the difference between me playing and the VST playing. So like, let's see if it's, oops, it also crashes a lot. So, oh, Logic, good grief. Why does it do that? I'm trying to switch to using FL Studio because it just doesn't crash nearly as bad as Logic. Logic is a pain and doesn't work half the time. Like half the time I have to restart the program like 3 times before it actually runs anything properly. And I don't know why. It's just cheapy program. So I've been trying to learn how to use FL Studio. Um, FL is more stable at least, but I don't know how to use it as well. So I'm still kind of learning how that works. And this is like how I usually write is I'll take the VST and it looks like this. This is the Jupiter plugin from Impact Soundworks, and it's like the most realistic fake guitar I could find. And like I was saying before, my writing process over the last couple of years has been a case of moving from using samples and loops to using MIDI to actually playing. And so I finally have worked my way up to learning the guitar and how it works. And like I'm brand new at this, so I mess up a lot and I'm still learning how the fingering works and stuff. But if Logic will cooperate, I can demonstrate the plugin too, because this is the electric guitar. Is it going? No, of course it's not. Why is it doing that? This is what I mean by it crashes constantly. I gotta make sure it actually does the thing. I have nothing but trouble with this program. The number of times it's crashed and I've lost things. It ate an entire song once and made me so mad. I had to completely redo the song. And then there was another time I couldn't get it to play my string plugin at all. So I had to export the MIDI, import it into FL, export it out of FL playing the VST, and then mix and master it in Logic. It was a total pain. Is it going to? Nope. Is it because the sound settings, maybe? Audio settings? Oh, because it's trying to play through my headphones. System setting, maybe? System setting. What is it playing through? Apply. Maybe it will do the thing now. Like, I swear this isn't me. This is the stupid program. Good grief. Oh, I have to restart, start again. Sometimes I have to entirely reboot the computer. This is like maddening sometimes, but like, oh my God. I don't know why it's doing this or why it ever does this. I even have a new computer I'm working with and it still derps a lot. But anyway, like, if I can get it to play, I can demonstrate how I've been writing before I got the guitars involved. Is it going to actually? Oh, maybe. Nope. Ugh. But this is what I go through every time I'm trying to use this darn program. It just will not freaking open. I have to open, close, open, close, open, close constantly with it. And just, oh my God. I don't know whether it's because it's trying to do a different rate or something, but like this is the kind of thing that it does like all the freaking time. Hold on. What are my audio settings set to now? Maybe I should try a different. Oh, let's do headphones maybe. Input doesn't matter because I'm not inputting anything right now. Maybe. Oh, okay. So now it's gonna play out of my speakers, of course. Will it play out of the headphones now and then I record that audio? No, of course not. Okay, so I guess I'm playing it through my speakers. All right, sure. And then the mic will pick it up because Logic. of lagged a little bit. Maybe it's going to do it. Ah, I think it's doing it now. So this is the newest thing I was writing the other day. I talk about in my blog some about how I get the inspirations for my songs. This is just an instrumental right now, but it's kind of doing the most, I guess. But this is what it sounds like when it's playing just the instrumental and the guitar plugin. I think it sounds pretty good, but I can actually play this on the electric guitar now when I couldn't before. It used to be a case of just using this and that was all I could do. But this is, you can set different plugins to do different things. Like here's my drums. These are metal, please. Thank you. Now it's so this is how I do drums. Like everything drums I do is this. And pretty much everything else. Like bass I can actually play. Guitar I can actually play now. But this is like how I write the tabs for it first, is I go in here and I play around with sounds and chords. A tool I really like to use. Do I have it on here? Let me go back. Yeah, here it is. Scalar. This is like my favorite tool for composition. Is I can like select a chord or select a scale. Like this is written in C major, and I can tell it, okay, I want to write in C major. Show me all the chords in C major. So here's my chords. I have to make it play the sound. But it will play the chords I'm looking for, which then translate to the power chords on the fretboard. And so what I do then is you can drag them to the MIDI here, and now I've got this little chord here, but it's on a piano. So what do I do with it then? Okay, so always have like the root of the chord here. So if I want to play the chord on Jupiter, all I need is the root. And right here, like it's an A. So I would just do that, delete that, then plug it into the Jupiter plugin down here. As you can see, I have my power chords set up, and like, so this is an E. So it plays an E chord, which I don't know why that sound is so distorted. That is weird logic, but that's how I translate the chords to the MIDI. And what I'm hearing in my head, I call it the song fairy sometimes. Just kind of comes along and just goes, hey, here's a melody. Now it's stuck in your head. Go write it down. So that's what I do. Most of the time, how I do that is I sing the melody a cappella that's in my head. Or I play it on the MIDI controller, which in this case, that's exactly what I did, is I played what was in my head on the MIDI controller to see what it sounds like and identify the key. Once I've identified the key, then I can go back up here to Scalar, input the key, and then I get chords that are in that key. So, and I have my choice of chords here, which as I just showed, you drag one to the keyboard, or I'm sorry, to the piano roll up here, and it shows you the root and the rest of the chord. All Jupiter needs is the root, and then you can set it to play the power chord that corresponds to the root. So a little bit of music theory needed for that, but not much. So then I come down here and I'm in the guitar plugin, which I'll show how that works. And so I can set the articulation for the power chord plugin, which then will play this. And so if I just isolate this, you can see where I have all the chord roots and the rhythm recorded. And then you get this nice guitar piece, and it plays the power chord in sustain. I can do a power chord with mute. Any number of these articulations will work. They all sound different, but you can use modulation too, which can change like vibrato if you're doing Oh my god. Why is that audio so distorted? That is so weird. But good grief. Let me play an exported file so like it will actually sound like the freaking song. This is maddeningly frustrated. So if I was gonna actually play the song I played earlier, which I was playing it on the guitar, here's what it's supposed to sound like if I was using the plugin. Which, oh, of course it's distorted because I'm playing it on headphones and Apple. If you're using both the mic and the sound output on Apple at the same time on a Mac, it gets addled. But this is Heart of Gold that I was playing a while ago. Too many friends who lied. Why does it always end this way? Like an angel with broken wings, born to fly but cannot reach the sky. Like I said, this is my first attempt ever playing anything live. Never ever even tried that. So that's the acoustic version, and then I have the one where I have like all of the other instruments going and the other plugins, which sounds more like this, and that gets in there with my string plugins, which you can see in this track. I've got these two, and if I look at the plugin it works for that, it's also a native instrument contact. Spitfire strings, which I love this as much as I love the Soundworks stuff. This is really good strings. They sound completely realistic in my opinion. It's like I have an orchestra in my pocket. And you guys use some Spitfire's website. This is like $250. It's a little pricey, but it's worth it. And you have to program each individual instrument. You can't just use like a synth pad version of it and record it. You actually have to individually write out each instrument's line. So like this is violin, and I'm gonna pause this so that stopped playing and doesn't drown me out. But like I have, whoops, that just dinged me. Anyway, so I have the violin stuff here, which I think I have. Do I have the? Oh, I have the bus muted, so you can't hear it. This is how I bus things, which that has to do with mixing and mastering, which I'll get to in a second. But about the violins here, I have just the violin line, and I can switch to my view of the piano roll, and then I get my violins, and I can just program in the sustained violin track, which I also play violin and cello, so this also kind of ties into my actual instrument knowledge. So what I do for this oftentimes is I'll take the scalar up here and go back to my chord formation. And so if I have a chord, what I do is I'll take the root for the cello part, and then the upper two parts of the chord I make for the violin and viola pieces. And then for the bass, I take the root, which is the cello part, bust it down an octave, and I have my bass part. So then you get something that sounds put together, which is if I solo this, hopefully it'll do the thing. You get the whole orchestra, which in my opinion, this is like the coolest part of the string thing is you can actually even have different instruments playing a different line if you want to and have them do a whole part. I don't really usually go into that much detail. I just do the chord breakdown to kind of do like a pad type thing that I would do for a synth. But it sounds really awesome, especially if I set it on the sustain setting so that it's really smooth. And then you get this really gorgeous orchestra feel. So that's how I do strings. Bass guitar, these are my two regular guitars. Then I have a bass guitar, which this is also, this is a Native Instruments plugin called Contact, and it plays a variety of instruments, but just one of them is this Scarby Rickenbacker bass, which is my favorite bass plugin if I'm not actually playing the bass as input, as a lot of times this is cleaner than anything I can do, so it's like, well, why not? And it also gives me a chance to form out my tabs before I actually play it. But if I solo this, you get an idea. And what I do a lot for bass is I'll take one of the guitar lines, like this guitar line, and move it down to the bass. Ah, of course it's not going to play the right. Ah, it's so distorted. But if it was actually going to play it right, this would be the matching rhythm to the Jupiter lead up here. So you can see I have like sections of my song, and this is the chorus here, or what's going to be the chorus when I finish this and actually record it. Then you have in here the verses, and it's kind of divided up into sections. And I have down here, the chorus is repeating. I haven't written the bridge yet, so down here would be where the bridge is, and then the chorus probably would repeat again somewhere over here. And then I have drums. I haven't written the fills yet for this, but usually I would have like a snare fill or some kind of toms going on like about here as I'm transitioning. The drums, like, I didn't really appreciate when I first started recording and writing stuff just how critical drums are to a piece. It's amazing. If you get the wrong rhythm or you have a weird kind of not fitting rhythm or drum pattern, or even you're using, oh, I got some serious crap when I first started in review shows. I was using trap drum loops to go with rock, and I had someone be like, "Why are you using trap drums with rock?" And I'm going, "Well, why not?" And then I listened to it more carefully after getting kind of roasted by the feedback folks, mostly on Submit Hub. After getting this crazy roast, I'm like, "Okay, so what is it I'm doing wrong?" And so I got the advice of the trap drums. I'm like, "So what else am I supposed to use if I'm not using loops and I'm not using trap drums? Because that's all I can find because everybody writes EDM." Like, it's almost impossible to find tools for anything other than EDM, hip hop, or rap that are in widely available sources, which is why I was so excited when I found Contact by Native Instruments and I started experimenting with their plugins. They have some really good stuff, and so I found this studio drummer on their website, and I bought it and started tinkering around with it, and you can set it for acoustic metal type drums, and then you can change settings on how you want them to sound. You can do all kinds of interesting stuff with your rhythm. And so basically how that works is, let me show you in here one of these MIDI pieces. So you have like your hi-hats and cymbals up here. Here's your snares. And then down here would be your kick. And you can tell what corresponds to what based on the key map for this. So like I could take my MIDI controller, and if I play, okay, if I play a where is it? C, I get a kick because it's on C1 here. So that corresponds to the kick on my keyboard if I push a C. And if I was to push a D, then I get a tom. And so you can do this kind of thing. And then I write in the MIDI the rhythm I want, and it plays those keybinds. So you get this nice drum pattern. And then when you solo it, if Logic will cooperate and not distort the sound, you get this, which to me is the best I can get without an actual drummer. It's not too bad. And then like here, I would normally write a fill of a bunch of tom stuff and have it really rock out more, especially as I transition into the chorus here. It's going to change rhythm. because I want it to build up and be more exciting for the chorus part, because that's the part you remember. That's the part that gets stuck in your head if you do it right. And oftentimes my song fairy will give me these kind of infectious melodies. But when you get to the chorus, then, oh hey, there's a ride in there now. So I have a MIDI up here for, oh, where is it? It's down here. So I have the ride in here now too. And this is adding another element, but it's also a keybind. So you can see over here where that would be. This is a C2. And then you get up here, this is equivalent to D sharp on the MIDI controller keyboard. So if I play, oh, where is it? C, that's not the right octave. I have to set it for the right octave. But you have a keybind that corresponds to the key on the MIDI controller, which you can't see what I'm doing. I have a MIDI controller in front of me that's in my lap here, kind of on a shelf under my desk. And very often I'll use that to kind of get me started. Is I'll put in one of these instruments and just kind of noodle around with it until I get the sound I want. My keyboard of choice is an Akai MPK Mini Plus, which is a little 37 key controller. It's not huge, but it kind of gives me enough range that I can test out sounds and kind of fiddle around and see what I want it to sound like. For example, oh, here's the acoustic guitar part, which I'm not using right now, but if I were to, oh, let's see, I can push a key and I get a chord. If I was going to use the acoustic plugin rather than playing it myself, and I can do this like strum pattern thing just by hitting different keybinds, which correspond to these MIDI notes. So like if I hit a G on G3, anyway, it's not working, but if I were to hit a G, I get this chord. And I get, sometimes it's weird because if you set it to a particular auto chord, if you set it to C major, sometimes it gets addled and the keybind doesn't correspond to the key, the note that it is, the chord. Other times it does, like it actually figured out that I meant the G chord here because it's C major. But sometimes if you use a different key, it'll get completely confused, and the MIDI will be shifted up or down a pitch or two, and you'll have to figure out by playing on the key switches what chord you're getting. And the only way you know is to look here. So it's kind of frustrating sometimes. But like I was saying earlier, what I do to get the chords in the first place is to get the root from scalar. And so I have my C major scale here. So if I wanted to play a C chord, which it looks like this on the piano keyboard up here, you can see it, what keys it's in. It's C, E, G. So I take the root C and put it into either the guitar plugins. And so down here I have a C that's the root, and I get a full C chord. Just like for the Jupiter, if I plug in a C, I get a C power chord. So like if I go here, I get an E power chord if I have an E selected on my MIDI. So that's how you kind of use these plugins and just MIDI in general, because the way MIDI works is MIDI is just kind of a record of the pitches and the rhythms, and you can also translate it to like a score and get this. And you can set this to do tabs. If you do scores, or that's not what I meant to click. If you do tablature, you can tell it what you're playing here, and if you put in the chord, it'll tell you. And like for the bass, you can set it for tab, and then you can set it for bass, and then you can tell it how you want it to look, and then go over here and tell it that this is bass, and maybe I can get it to do it. Guitar, and can I tell it? Normally I can tell it guitar and bass. Why is it not letting me do this? Show staff styles, I think. Tab, bass 4. So that's a 4-string bass. So here's what my tab would look like for the actual MIDI that I've created, is I get these nice tabs made out of the MIDI controls. So it can actually be played on a bass. So this is like how I started translating the MIDI to the actual instrument. And so this would be like um, a 2 on D string on a bass. So you have like the 4 strings here, and well, it's standard tab if you know how to play bass. You can just translate it to the fingering for the bass, and then here's the rhythm. These are short with the rest. And so then you look at it in the piano roll, and here you get the same thing, which is the rhythm of play, play, rest, play, rest, play, rest, like that. And so you can see on the piano keyboard that this is the same as an E. And so like I was saying up here, you go up here, I want an E chord. If I'm looking at this, so I'm looking at E minor, I have E, G, B. And so if I'm going to drag that to the piano roll, no, I don't want to import tempo. I get this E, G, oh, B. And so if I want it to play an E chord in the acoustic plugin, I would go down here. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. I would go down here, go to my guitar plugin, and then see here it is E minor is a key switch for E. And there it is, the E minor chord. This doesn't play power chords, this plays the full chord for the acoustic one, which is really cool. So you can tell it minor or major for that. If I'm looking at Jupiter, I'm playing power chords, so it doesn't matter if it's minor or major, it just plays the root chord, which is really nice. So here's the E chord. The logic is being stupid, but there's the E chord, which would sound like an E if I was getting it to actually do the right thing. But either way, you get the idea. So you can set the Jupiter then. If I want it to play just a single note, I can tell it sustain, which is how I get some of these cool solos sometimes. Like you can program the vibrato, you can program the velocity, which is how hard that you're striking the string and how loud it's going to be. And so sometimes, like at the Jupiter, if you set it for full velocity, it's gonna kind of squeal and do a harmonics thing, um, like a real guitar would if you played it really hard. And if you set it for the power chord sustain, it plays the chord of whatever root you've got on your MIDI. So if I have it set for E, it's going to play an E chord for the power chord. And then I can do a palm mute here with the power chord mute is the palm muted power chord, which I often use that for my rhythm parts. I don't know if that's very standard or not, but I like the sound of it. If I have, like for this instance, it's power chord mute. So you get a palm mute on that power chord if you do that. But this is kind of the basics of how I've been writing until now, and it's only been maybe in the last month or so that I've even been writing for the guitar. And I attempted to play the new song a little while ago and fumfered all over myself trying to remember the lyrics and the chords because I wasn't really prepared, but kind of gives an idea now. And so if I translate these same chords, I can play the power chord. Like if I'm over here, C would work the same as the C on the Jupiter. If I was playing a C, it's the same thing. And of course, I have an electric guitar too. I have pedals and stuff that I can make it sound just like this if I'm going to play it on the guitar. But that's kind of a little idea of like how I've been composing until now and kind of a insight into my composition process. So that is mostly what I was going to cover. I wasn't planning on going live today. This was kind of a stream test and just sort of an introduction to what I wanted to do. So it's this is an experiment, and I hope to get better at it so I can do more of this. But I think for now, I'm kind of hungry, so I think I'm gonna stop streaming and go get dinner. But totally, if anybody trips over this and sees it, um, I'm hoping to do more of this kind of thing in the future. And as I'm creating more content and more songs and like the making of the videos and stuff, it'll be on here, and I'm hoping to do more of it. So that said, I think I'm gonna to go off for now. I'll have a schedule maybe figured out later and maybe have stuff on an actual broadcast schedule. I have like my YouTube is set for a schedule, so I have a posting cadence on there, but this being a total experiment was just kind of a, hey, let's try this today. So I have nothing here yet. But that said, I'm gonna call it here because I'm really hungry and I'm gonna go get myself some dinner. So anybody that was hanging out, I think that's cool and thanks, and we'll be on again sometime in the near future, I think. So see ya next time.